All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And I've wanted to do an update for the last couple of days, but because of my puppy and my schedule, I have not been able to make it back into the studio. All of my attention has to be on a puppy. If you've ever had a lab puppy, you know how destructive they can be. Luckily, our dog is not as destructive as most dogs, and I just have to keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't ingest something he shouldn't ingest. That's a lot of work. Lab puppies are a lot of work. But I'm finally able to make it in here because there are some things we need to talk about today. I'm going to definitely have an update today, and I'm going to have an update tomorrow because there's only a few things I want to talk about in this video. Because if I cover everything, it's going to be like an hour-long video, and I just don't have the ability to do an hour-long video. So you will have to come back tomorrow for more information. But we're going to look at some stuff here today, and I'm going to share part of my Twitter account, and I'm going to show you how everything for Superman was overhyped. I told everybody from the beginning they were going to do this. They were going to make it seem like it was going to be something it wasn't. We were originally told this movie's going to reach, some people think, $2 billion, $1 billion. The opening weekend, it's going to make $300 million in the U.S. Then we heard it's going to make $200 million in the U.S. And then we heard people start predicting that it's going to make about $180 million in the U.S. And then we had recently a bunch of outlets say it's going to make between 145 and 165 million over its opening weekend in the U.S. alone. And they dropped it way lower now that actual ticket sales are out there for previews. And we're going to compare it also to the Batman and when that movie came out. And things are not looking all that rosy for Superman. And I figured that this was going to happen. At most, this will be a mediocre film. It is not going to be the blockbuster hit they wanted it to be. The only way that is going to happen is if this film is amazing. And if you saw my previous video, James Gunn said all he's hoping for is a double, that this movie, don't expect it to be amazing off the charts. They're just looking to get a double, not a home run, not a grand slam. And this is Superman we're talking about. Again, he should have never taken on the job if he wasn't up to trying to swing for the fences, okay? Just, it's ridiculous. But we're going to look at some stuff here today. Something also happened to David Zaslav that I think is freaking hilarious. This company is just, Warner Brothers is not in good shape. Superman is not looking up to be the hit they were expecting. Like, this is not looking good, guys. Let's take a look. All right, the first photo I wanted to show you guys here, this was actually taken from my Walmart in Arizona. And Arizona and Phoenix is one of the fifth largest cities in the United States. And at this Walmart, you could see the toys were jam-packed. Nobody is buying these toys. Nobody is. Now, I toyed with the idea of buying the heroes versus villains because it was less than $13 and included all of those characters. But I just don't want to pump anything into this film. I don't want to support this movie at all. The suit still looks terrible. These toys are filled to the brim, okay? That one Superman that's pushed back, that's not even for Superman. That was just a leftover one because they couldn't get it on the peg. All of the large toys that are down below were also jam-packed. I should have taken a picture of the How to Train Your Dragon and the Jurassic World section. Those things were like wiped out. There is no interest in Superman, guys. There is no interest in this film, and it's definitely not interest coming from kids. So let's talk about David Zaslav. I told everybody that this company was in shambles. We already saw that the shareholders in just a preemptive, we want Zaslav to know that we're not happy move. They decided to cut his bonus, right? Well, this gets worse. Warner Brothers Discovery is cutting CEO David Zaslav's pay after shareholder backlash. So the company, Warner Brothers, is cutting CEO David Zaslav's pay. I want to know who's above him, how this is happening. His salary is going from $22 million to $6 million. Holy freaking crap. That is a crazy, crazy chunk of money disappearing. His stock bonus target will also shrink from $23.5 million to $7.5 million per year. Their shareholders are not happy with the direction of this company. This company, I keep telling everybody, there are people circling to purchase Warner Brothers. There are rumblings out there already, and I will talk more about that in tomorrow's video. Now, this is one of the most ridiculous things I have ever seen. And this shows you how out of touch Warner Brothers is. This shows you how stupid Peter Safran is. Now, there's no other way to put it. And keep in mind, he was in charge of all of the misses at Warner Brothers prior to James Gunn coming in. Peter Safran calls James Gunn the greatest superhero filmmaker of his generation. When I read this, I just about choked. He goes on to say, James is, for my money, the greatest superhero filmmaker of our generation. I wouldn't do any character without James. But it was when he called me and said, I have a way in, that I really knew we were on to something. I knew something had spoken to him about the theme, what the theme should be. What was the commentary of the human condition that we wanted to explore? As we got deeper into it, and certainly when I read the script for the first time, it really spoke to me about what it is that makes us the people we are today. It balances the incredible Kryptonian legacy and heritage against the human upbringing for Clark Kent. The gall to say that James Gunn is the greatest superhero filmmaker of our generation spits in the face of Richard Donner, spits in the face of Christopher Nolan. It spits in the face of so many directors that came before. Zack Snyder is far above James Gunn. They're spitting in the face of all of these filmmakers who paved the way for this film to even be made. To call him the greatest superhero filmmaker of our generation. He had a few hits with Marvel when Marvel was at its peak. This is disgusting. And to show you what kind of commentary is going to be in this film, they released a clip of Lois berating Clark Kent when she was doing that interview in the apartment. Berating him, belittling him. She sounded like a hag. And what's going to happen here, we've already seen the clip of her getting after Green Lantern as well. She's going to be the girl boss in the film. And she's going to be talking down to all the men. She's going to have a problem with all the men. That's not a likable Lois Lane. Lois Lane is a very likable person in the comic. She's very fair. She's very hard as a reporter. But she doesn't berate Superman. She doesn't go after him like she did in that clip. The whole thing is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is what we have to look forward to. All right, guys, so here's the big thing I wanted to talk about in my video today. It says Superman hits tracking with 90 million to 125 million plus U.S. opening. Just the other day, it was 145 to 165 million. Now they've lowered that lower number by $55 million and the higher number by $40 million. Think about that. Think about how big of a difference that really is. And I told everybody when I talked about this in one of my previous videos that you can't predict something without ticket sales. Well, they now have ticket sales. They have the preview days plus, what's going to be coming that first week. And tickets are up for that first week and they're just not selling. People are posting online all the time. How many seats are left for that first week? This movie is not the juggernaut they were expecting. To give you a comparison, The Batman, first of all, had no competition the first month it came out. And when The Batman came out, it made $12 million in its pre-screenings. $12 million. You know how much Superman is going to make in its pre-screening? $10 million. $2 million less than what The Batman made. And I keep telling everybody this. I have been a movie person my entire life. Batman sells. Batman sells. For Warner Brothers, Batman is what makes money, not Superman. We already saw how the Batman turned out If Superman makes less money than the Batman, it's going to be a failure. It will not even make its budget back. Between the money from the budget to the marketing, it won't even make its money back. And what's crazy about this is this number will probably go lower. Remember how everyone said this movie is going to blow you away? It's going to sell out. You're going to have a hard time getting tickets. It's going to be the biggest superhero film ever. $2 billion. There were really people in my comments saying this movie was going to make $2 billion. The opening weekend is always the biggest weekend. If this is only tracking to make $90 million to $125 million, and you have Fantastic Four and the Smurfs coming up right after this is going to go drastically lower in the coming weeks. There is no way this movie is going to make its money back on this kind of a prediction. They are in serious trouble. Zaslav is getting his pay cut. The movie keeps tracking lower than what they said. Everybody was touting how big this success was going to be. Where are all those people now? Maybe I blocked them all at this stage. This is getting crazy. We're going to see what happens with this. We'll see when I go see it if this movie is going to blow us away or not. If it's mediocre or less than mediocre. If I have to go based off of the marketing, I don't have high hopes for this film. I don't. And I will tell you, I've gone into other films where I've had very low hopes and come out pleasantly surprised. The same thing happened with the last Indiana Jones movie. I know that character inside and out. He was more of Indiana Jones in that film than he was in the Crystal Skull. And I enjoyed that film. Not Crystal Skull, the other one. Crystal Skull is my least favorite. And so I have a pretty good bead, on what's going to happen with these films, but I may be surprised by this. Maybe this will be another Indiana Jones situation. But not everybody liked that Indiana Jones. And if this film is divisive and they don't grab the audience, this movie is just not going to do well. Think about this. Let's look at how much money that Deadpool and Wolverine made in its first weekend. All right, guys, to give you a comparison here, Deadpool and Wolverine had a record-breaking first weekend at the box office, earning $205 million domestically. Its overseas was $233.3 million. So its first weekend was $438.3 million. If Superman tracks where they're saying it's going to make half that, less than half this, and it will never make its money back. This is not looking good. All right, guys, what do you think about the news of Zaslav's pay cut? What do you think about the revised numbers for the opening weekend? What do you think this movie is going to do? I'm still betting this movie is going to make less than $600 million altogether at the end of the day. I just don't think this is going to have legs. The toys aren't selling, and this happens with every James Gunn movie where the tickets end up in the bargain bin. The toys end up in the bargain bin. It's going to happen. The toys just aren't selling. They're going to show up at discount stores very soon. And it looks like they overproduced these toys. And I just can't believe that this is happening at this stage. This is worse than what I was expecting at this point. We're still 3 weeks away, and the numbers keep going lower and lower. So we're going to see what's going to happen here. I've already given my predictions, but we'll see. We will see. Chime off below. We'll see you in a regular update tomorrow.